Have you ever been mistaken for God's rough draft at church? I was born with a rare condition that left half my face looking like melted wax. Doctors called it Perry-Romberg syndrome, but kids at school had more creative names. By the time I turned 30, I'd heard them all. That's why I usually avoided crowds, especially churches where people stared longer while pretending not to. But my niece Lily was getting baptized, and my sister begged me to come. Please, Uncle Joey. She asks about you all the time. So there I was, sliding into the back pew of St. Catherine's, hood up, trying to blend into the shadows. The service was going fine until this little kid, maybe 5 years old, turned around in the pew ahead of me. His eyes went wide, and he tugged on his mom's dress. Mommy, why does that man's face look funny? His mother turned, saw me, and her face went pale. Shh, Timothy, don't stare. But Timothy wasn't done. Is he sick? Did God mess up? Before his mortified mother could respond, the priest, Father Rodriguez, who'd apparently been watching this unfold, walked down from the altar mid-sermon. The entire congregation turned to look. Actually, Timothy, Father Rodriguez said, his voice carrying through the silent church, sometimes God creates special people to teach us important lessons. Timothy's eyes got even wider. Like angels? Not quite, the priest smiled. More like rough drafts. I felt my stomach drop. Here it comes, I thought. The pity speech. But Father Rodriguez continued. You see, when artists create masterpieces, they make many drafts first. Each one is unique, valuable, and helps create the final beauty. This gentleman here, he's one of God's rough drafts, sent to remind us that perfection isn't about how we look. Timothy studied me seriously. So he's like practice? The congregation chuckled nervously, but Father Rodriguez nodded. In a way, and practice makes perfect, but sometimes the practice pieces are the most interesting. That's when everything spiraled. Timothy stood up on his pew and announced, "The practice man is special." Other kids started turning around to look. One shouted, "Can he do miracles?" An elderly woman grabbed my hand. "My arthritis, can you heal it? I'm just here for a baptism," I mumbled, but suddenly I was surrounded. People started confessing things to me, asking for guidance, touching my scarred side like it was holy. "He doesn't speak much," someone whispered. "Very monk-like." "The quiet ones are closest to God," another agreed. My sister was frantically gesturing from the front, but I couldn't move through the crowd. Someone's grandmother kissed my damaged cheek and claimed her cataracts cleared. A teenager asked if I could help with his SATs. A man confessed he'd been cheating on his wife and wanted absolution. "I work in IT," I tried to explain, but they took this as divine humility. Father Rodriguez finally rescued me, guiding me to a side room. "I'm so sorry," he said, barely containing laughter. "I was trying to help, but my congregation is very enthusiastic about signs from God. They think I'm some kind of holy mutant," I said. "Well, technically, we're all God's rough drafts," he grinned. "Yours is just more obvious." When we returned for Lily's baptism, the congregation watched my every move. I sneezed during the prayer, and 3 people said amen. I dropped my phone, and someone claimed it was a message about abandoning technology. After the ceremony, Timothy ran up to me. "Mr. Rough Draft, my mom says you're not really magic, but I think you are because you made everyone act weird." His mother apologized profusely, but I knelt down to Timothy's level. "Can I tell you a secret?" He nodded eagerly. "The magic isn't in how I look. It's in how you saw something different and weren't afraid to ask questions. That's the real miracle." Timothy beamed and ran off to tell his friends he'd talked to God's practice person. The next Sunday, Father Rodriguez called to warn me. "So, funny story. We have about 30 new members who joined hoping to see you again. They're calling you the Blessed Draft. There's even a Facebook group." "You're joking." "I wish. Someone's selling prayer cards with your blurry picture from the security camera. They're calling them Drafts of Faith." I hung up and Googled myself. Sure enough, there was a page. "Touched by the divine rough draft. Share your miracle." It had 847 members. The top post read, "His silence speaks volumes. His scars show God's process. It means inspiring truth. Share if you've been blessed by the draft." I changed churches after that, but sometimes, walking past St. Catherine's, I see my hooded figure printed on a banner. "All are welcome, even the rough drafts." Timothy was right. I did make everyone act weird, and somehow, a church full of people decided my medical condition was God's way of beta testing humanity. My sister still has the baptism photos. In every single one, someone in the background is staring at me with their hands clasped in prayer.